Firstly, there should be no matter how much it costs, if it's going to help a child, because John F. Kennedy once spoke that an uneducated child is a misguided child, and for anyone to even put a price on a child's education is wrong, because as we may be the leaders of today and tomorrow, and truly, and also another thing is that community schools actually or it's like a positive thing. Their additional staff can actually help fund the economy, which, as many of y'all know in here, is pretty messed up. And even if they were expensive, they give the community an incentive to schools to pay attention to them, because there are many children out there who aren't getting the best that they absolutely deserve. And it's wrong, because here in America, which we're supposed to be the land of opportunity and the home of the free and all that good stuff we hear on baseball, during baseball games, but yet we have children, and if in Philadelphia alone, that we have a 50% dropout rate. And that means for every 2 students, the one I'm sitting next to may not be there the next year. So that is a morally wrong problem. I think that community schools will actually help this, because anytime you put you put the parents and you make it a family, the children feel welcome, and they also feel as if someone who care about them. So. And another thing, it actually benefits the community, because the benefits of the community school outweigh the economic costs. So, for example, even though it's expensive, it will actually save the city more, because then you won't have as many people going to jail. Which for the $14,000 that they do spend on each child in a school, they spend $35,000 to send one to jail. So I believe that's $21,000 difference. So that's $21,000 that's being saved for that community. So I think that would be better, because it's better because, one, it's helping the child, and 2, you're helping the community around them, so that dropout rate we have can rise for those children for America to be America again, and really fulfill that dream that across that hall 232 years ago that the founders spoke of, that even though we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And community schools will further that call that the founding fathers spoke of so many years ago. And that's it. That's all I have.
I'd like to first start off on addressing this question, that this just simply isn't true. There are many nonprofit organizations everywhere, not just in the city of Philadelphia, but in Gwinnett, Mercy, Allegheny, and Scranton. There are many different organizations. In fact, in Pennsylvania, where most of the agricultural business is done, it is not in the big cities, but it is in the rural areas. It is where the steel companies are. It is previously where the oil companies were. In fact, in the 1920s, Pennsylvania was one of the biggest states and biggest areas in the world for oil. It was in those rural areas. Community schools don't necessarily have to be in the big cities. Community schools, regardless of the size, are schools for the community. They can be big or small. But to address that point now, there was an author, his name was Henry Ibsen, and he said, a community shouldn't necessarily matter about people's social or economic status. A community ought to be like a ship. Everyone should be able to take helm when the time is coming, when everyone is prepared. We have to drop this notion that, based on where you come from, whether your area be big or small, that's all that matters. It simply isn't. People from big and different areas have different perspectives. These community schools can work with both of these areas. So now reaching on to that, even if this myth were true, it wouldn't be a bad thing. It is often in these big areas where the people who need these issues and the people in the inner city, as you see up here, have to say. I was talking to a young gentleman today, and he told me something very interesting that I thought would be a good view and a good way to express it to you all here. The only eyes that can see clearly are those clean with tears. These are the people within these communities that know what's going on. These are the people that need to change. Yes, people in rural areas need help too, but also the 40 million people in big cities that don't have health insurance need health care too. The 90% of the people that only own 10% of this country's wealth need health care too, and need these community schools too as well. So when we're looking at this myth, even if the myth is true, big cities still need help, but it simply isn't. The other team was right in the sense that we all are businesses, but we need to drop this notion that says your social and economic status determines what you get. We all live in this great democracy. We all need to take care of each other. We need to make this a more we're all in it together thing instead of a drawn social economics line thing. That's what community schools do. There are groups of schools where people from the community can have a direct change on those people. That Susie and that Bob that the other team was talking about are the people that are going to have the change in the economy. I think it's time that we stop letting the people who are trying to oppress us and keep us in jail control our education and take education into our own hands and determine what our children will learn in our communities.
I would first like to read a quote from the Coalition for Community Schools. They said, "We need community schools because research and experience tells us that young people need a wide range of opportunity and support to succeed. A quality academic program is necessary, but not sufficient." And I thought it was a great way to start off a response to that myth. Because coming from a student, I know that the best thing to have is opportunities. You never want to lock yourself in a position where you have to go in one way. I feel as if the extracurriculars and a place where that students can experience multiple things and not just education allows them to do that. Speaking as a debater, I know one of the reasons why I love going to school is because I just don't go there and I don't just sit in a class. After school, I have soccer. After school, I have debate. And that's where I believe I learned the most stuff. From debate, I can tell you that I've learned how to research skills and public speaking more than not any other student in my school, but more than a student in my school that hasn't done debate. I've learned those things. These things are necessary, and we shouldn't just, even though education is extremely important, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm not stressing education, some of the things, such as extracurriculars and things that the community school provides, such as health services, development of children's, and not only, I don't think anybody else has mentioned that community schools don't only focus on students, but they also focus on the parents. And if you really want a student to succeed, you have to communicate to their parents how important their success is. In addition, this myth, I think that it assumes that there will be one staff for education, for the education and the health services, when that certainly isn't true. There's different staffs that can operate a community school. There just isn't, the principal isn't also the doctor or the nurse. And I think that's a misconception that this myth takes in consideration. So I want to stress that there needs to be balance, not just of education, but education needs to happen surrounding so many other things. Thank you.